I will explain exactly how to play the Illuvium Gauntlet Arena, a free-to-play auto-battler game on the same level as Teamfight Tactics. Now, the game can feel overwhelming at first since so much is going on the screen, but I will easily explain every aspect and what you can expect in the early, mid, and late game without overwhelming you with nuance. After you play a few games, you will understand the meta and the characters well enough that you forgot it was even difficult in the first place. Now, at the end of this video, I will also cover some basic strategy that will help guarantee you a top 4 performance in your next match. Now, here is what you need to know. Illuvium has 3 playable games right now. Arena is the competitive esports auto battler, and it is 100% free to play on the Epic Games Store. Simply search for Illuvium on Epic Games like so, and once you run it, you will need to log into the immutable passport, which you can register for free. I personally use a Google sign-in, but you can use all the normal methods. Now, once you get into the main menu, it actually looks stunning. But what we've got here is the game mode selection. If you want to play the Arena Auto Battler, just click on Enter the Arena right here. Now in here, you have a few different game modes to choose from, but we'll go through the main stuff. First up, you can switch to casual. This will basically let you play against bots if no one is in the queue. If you want to practice a new team or something, this is a great way to go. You can also click the little toggle in the bottom left-hand corner to play in the Leviathan Arena. More on what that is in the future. But for now, you definitely want to play the ranked game mode, which is what most people will be used to, especially if they're coming from other auto battlers such as TFT or Dota Auto Chess. When you're ready, just hit Find Match. Now, the UI when you get into the game. Take a moment to look at this. Familiarizing yourself with this UI will definitely aid you a lot. So first, on the left, we have the synergy panel. This will grow and change as you play throughout the game, but basically this gives you the core information to your team's buffs, depending on the different Illuvials you have on the board. The Illuvials are the creatures you buy from the shop and place on the game board. Now, you can hover over any of these for basic info on what it does for your team, but what's important here is I'm going to go over the 5 basic affinities and classes in the game. Every Illuvial has at least 1 affinity and 1 class. The basic affinities are fire, which increase damage, water, increase energy gain, so you cast your abilities faster, nature, which allows you to heal your allies, earth gives you good damage reduction, and air grants dodge chance to your team. The basic classes are bulwark, which gives a good tankiness units, fighter, good damage dealing units, scion have powerful omega abilities, empaths, they shield allies throughout the game, and the rogues are like the assassin class of Illuvium, where they jump to the back and do a lot of damage with critical hits. On the right hand side, you can see a lot of the same information for your opponent. You can see your opponents and all of their HP, and if you hover over them, you can also see the different synergies they have on their field as well. You can also hover or click on their portrait to scout out their game board and see what they are seeing at any given time, so that you can analyze your own approach depending on how your opponents are playing. It's worth noting you can toggle a little bit on this synergy panel as well to see the damage your team has dealt during the round, how much damage they've taken or healed, as well as some other hyper information, and we'll get on that later. So now onto the controls. To move your drone, simply right click anywhere on the field. To emote, left click the drone and then select the emote you want to use. To move the camera, you can actually hold control and right click and then use the WASD keys to fly around and reposition the camera. This is actually completely unique to Illuvium and I recommend checking it out. Spacebar returns the camera back to a neutral position in case you got stuck in a weird spot. The 1 through to 4 keys also have set camera positions in case you like a different view. You can also unbond your ranger by moving the bonded Illuvial to the bench, more on bonding in a second, and remove augments the exact same way. But before long, you can also move them directly between Illuvials whenever you want during the game. Another really big difference from other auto battlers in the genre. Now, the shop has 5 Illuvials. Tiers tend to determine their cost and their power, not to mention their rarity. Before evolution, they also always sell for the same cost that you bought them at. If you bought an Atlas for 1 credit, you can drag it off of the board to the left or to the back, or use the hotkey that's assigned in the game to sell that Illuvial and get your 1 credit back. If you're trying to get the tier 0 Illuvials, which you find at the very start of the game, or the Lynxes, which is a tier 2 Illuvial, you can actually check on the top right little panel of the UI to see which ones are available in the game. This changes every single time you play. Just a little bit more on Illuvials before we proceed on how to play the game. So Illuvials have tiers and stages. Tiers range from 0 through to 5, and everything can go from stage 1, 2, or 3. Now, every stage 1 Illuvial always has 2 basic synergies, a basic class and a basic affinity. At stage 2, one of these will turn into a composite. For example, Bulwark and Rogue form a Vanguard, which has different sets of abilities and advantages for that Illuvial. At stage 3, the Illuvial has 2 composites. What's important to note here is they will always keep their basic affinities and classes as well. A Slappin that evolves into a Stabbin and then a Slashin will become Vanguard Frost, but it will also get all of the major buffs from Water and Rogue, just like the original Slappin did. Now onto the game flow. So at the start of the game, a random region will be selected for you. Maybe you will be able to vote on it in the future. This affects things like HP, healing, damage output, and even how many Illuvials you can have on the board. And recently they've been trying a lot of different things as well. Jump into it and just have fun with what you find. When you're in the game, there's 2 major currencies at play. You will have health and credits. On most regions, your health will start at 100 and your credits starts at about 5 or something like that. But your first shop is tier 0s, and so it doesn't matter too much. Now, you will interchange health and credits throughout the course of the match. If you spend a lot of credit, your team should be stronger, and you will probably take less damage and lose less health. But if you're not upgrading your team often enough, you're not spending enough credits, you will probably take a lot more damage. So the 2 currencies are greatly intertwined, and being able to balance them out throughout the course of a match will be the key to victory. Now, there are also different round types of an Illuvium. You have a PvE round, which guarantees a significant amount of credits to be added to your balance, and win and loss streaks and interest all count to benefit you here. So you want to be on a big win or loss streak before you enter these PvE rounds. Now, always keep in mind when the PvE round happens, and you can check which round is coming up next at the top of the screen. Now, the PvP round is against another player. The more Illuvials remain, the more damage you deal to your opponent, or vice versa. Now, the weapon and suit amplifiers are also other things you get throughout the game, and they improve the ranger over time. Switching weapon is difficult in this, so please choose carefully at the start. So choose whatever you think suits your playstyle. If you love fighters or you love scions, choose a weapon that benefits that. Suit amplifiers also cost credits to re-roll, so don't be too greedy with it and just try and play what the game gives you. Later on in other rounds, you also get a drone augment. You get to choose 3 of these over the course of any given match, and it's very unlikely you'll be knocked out before grabbing all 3. These can each be re-rolled once, depending on the region you're on, and I recommend re-rolling the 2 that you definitely don't want to see your 3 options, and then selecting one, and maybe re-rolling that last one if you're feeling lucky. Another round we have is the draft deck, or in other auto battlers you might know it as the carousel. It is a catch-up mechanic where it guarantees 1 Illuvial and augment, and the person who's at the bottom of the current match leaderboard gets to choose first. It's just that simple. Now, the round order for the game is a little bit complex, so I might put something on the screen that displays it to you. But basically, the first 2 rounds are PvE, free wins and credits, great. Then 4 PvP rounds where you get a weapon and your first drone augment. Then another PvE, and then the draft, your first draft deck. 4 more PvP rounds where you get a weapon amplifier and drone augment. And another thing worth noting is round 22 also has a high chance of a composite synergy crate. If you've got 3 out of 4 of a really big composite, this is your chance to hopefully get that last piece of the puzzle. Now, how to play and win the game. So first, to add Illuvials on the board, just drag them onto the board. Easy. Leveling up also grants you additional slots for the board for Illuvials. For example, at level 1 and 2, you're allowed 1 and 2 Illuvials. At level 5, you're allowed 5 Illuvials, and so on and so forth. The main goal of the game is to be stronger than your opponents, and the easiest way to do that is to align the synergies on your team. Now, evolutions, like I said before, maintain base synergies, but typically the more composite synergies and higher tier base synergies, the stronger you are. For example, 7 or 8 Earth or whatever it is quite strong, 6 Air is quite strong, 8 Fire, and so on. So you definitely want to hit those top of the base synergies if you can. Otherwise, try and get a lot of really high powered composite synergies and you should be perfectly fine. If you have 2 Vanguards on the board, then you trigger that composite. 3 Fire triggers one of the first phases for Fire. You'll see little indicators on the synergy section in the left of the menu. To evolve Illuvials into higher stages and unlock more synergies, you simply need to find 3 of the same Illuvial and have them in your inventory in some way. They could all be on your bench, 1 could be in the field and 2 on the bench, and they will automatically fuse together. There is no way to hold 3 of anything in the game ever. A big part of the Illuvium Arena is managing your economy. So first off, interest accrues for every 10 credits. So for example, the maximum is 70. If you have 70 credits, you'll get a bonus 7 credits at the start of next round. 30 credits, you'll get a bonus 3. 35, you'll get a bonus 3 still. So if you want to really maximize your econ, you can get above 70, but don't waste your time too much on this since you should be trying to upgrade your team as well. Another way to get credits is every single win grants 1 bonus credit no matter what. And if you overspend, your team won't keep up into the later stages of the match. Win and lose streaks also make a big difference in your economy. If you have 2 wins, you'll get 1 bonus credit. 3 wins will also give you 1 bonus credit. 4 will give you 2 bonus credits, 5 as well, and 6 plus will give you 3 bonus credits. And all the extra credits you have in your inventory is really helpful because with 2 extra credits, you can re-roll the shop and you can spend 4 to gain 4 experience points to help you level up a little bit faster. It's worth noting that the higher your level, not only can you have more Illuvials on the board, the higher tiers that will appear in the shop as well. If you want to get that ramp fee to really boost up your team, you better hit level 7 or 8 or it will be really hard to come by. This is really important because the higher tier Illuvials in the game are much stronger than their lower tier counterparts. But that's not to say the lower tiers are bad by any means. They are also needed for synergies, and so it's important to have a mix of everything. Now, what's less intuitive is that the shop actually has a shared pool of characters. If someone acquires an Atlas, it lowers the odds for every other player. Here is a key example. There are 20 tier 1 Illuvials in the pool, or 20 of each tier 1 Illuvial in the pool. So if you take an Atlas from the pool, or you take maybe 4 or 5 of them, there are only 15 remaining and it will be much harder for me to get it. The amounts are pretty basic. There's 20 tier 0s and 1s, 19 tier 2s, 18 3s, 17 4s, and 15 5s. So for 3, 4, and 5, it's very hard for 2 players to get a stage 3 Illuvial of that tier. Now, later in the video, I will also go over 3 core principles that will help you come top 4 almost every single match you play. Please like and subscribe for more, and use my referral code on the Illuvidex if you get the chance. It is Scoriox. Now, the Ranger is a core component of the Illuvium game. They can be bonded to 1 Illuvial at a time, and it is the core way to acquire major synergies in the game. It synergizes with their current weapon. For example, if your weapon is fire and you bond with a nature Illuvial, you will get wildfire, which is the composite of the 2. If you're water and you bond with an air Illuvial, you'll get a frost synergy for your Ranger. This goes the same for classes, exactly the same system, but only 1 Illuvial can be bonded, so you've got to really carefully pick which one that's going to be. Now, Rangers cannot equip Augments. However, suit amplifiers fill this void. They cannot be removed from the board. Rangers cannot be removed from the board either, so you better make sure that they count on your team. Another big component of the game is Augments. So to get them, after each PvE round, you will have a chance of either getting a crate or an Augment component. Components come in 3 types: Fury, Defiant, and Strike. Strike is red, Fury is purple, and Defiant is yellow, I think. Anyways, they combine in different ways to give you different crates that unlock augments you can equip to your Illuvials. So the red ones are for damage, the purple ones are for Omega power, and the yellow ones are for defense. Combine 2 of the same one to each other, and your outcome should be pretty obvious. However, some of the less obvious ones are combining red and yellow to form a brawler crate, which will give you defensive augments that can also do quite a bit of damage. Combining the red and purple will give you a fusion crate, which will allow you to deal a lot of damage, both energy and physical damage, and is great for mixed attackers like Scoriox or Phosphorus. And the purple and yellow ones together will form a support crate. This can be good to either improve or reduce healing from you or your opponents, add some CC to your team, and things like that. There are several kinds of crates in the game. There are synergy crates, legendary crates, and augment crates. Synergy crates give you a chip that allows you to add to the synergies in the game. Legendary crates give you legendary augments, which don't really follow the normal rules and can have really powerful abilities. Every player will get the same crate at the same time, by the way. They won't necessarily get the same augments inside that crate, but if you got a legendary crate, everyone else did as well. And augment crates, like I just explained, are all your bread and butter items in the game. Now, Hyper is another mechanic unique to Illuvium, and I'm not going to go over it in great detail since it's a little bit more advanced, but basically it's similar to Pokemon in that that they have type advantages. A water Illuvial will get an advantage over a fire Illuvial and get powerful stat boosts when that advantage is met. You can see the giant golden glowing ring below their base. Another thing in the game is the team planner. Just hit T to open it up, or in the main menu you can open it up and use it as well. You can use this to give yourself UI tooltips for the Illuvials you're actually trying to build in your current match. You can also copy opponents' teams after a match is completed by just clicking that and adding it to your team planner if you like the way they were playing. This can be really useful for newcomers, so I recommend going on the Illuvialytics website, finding some team compositions you really like and adding it to your team planner. Now, another thing in the game, in the main menu, you can see the leaderboard. The top performers on this leaderboard get ILV rewards paid out to their wallets. No extra fuss needed. It'll just get given to you. You can claim it in fuel, so you can buy cosmetics and things, whatever you want to do. And the top 4 placement increases your ELO and leaderboard rank, so get ranking up on that leaderboard. Now for that general strategy, game strategy I promised you. Which Illuvial should you choose in the game? Try to fulfill as many synergies as you can, preferably higher tier ones, and if you can get a 4 composite synergy at any given time, that will greatly improve your chances of coming in top 4. Also, try to have a good balance of healer, tanks, and DPS. I recommend Adora as a healer. Some good DPSs include your Dash, your Slappin', and your Fiery. And tanks, Scarabok is the obvious go-to, but there's also things like Cling and Heady, and all of their evolutions, of course. Now, to position your team, defensive teams tend to stay in the corner really clumped up so rogues can't get to them, but watch out for ramfires, it will decimate you. Offensive teams tend to be placed quite aggressively, with bulwarks right at the front and fighters sitting in the very back line so that they're not getting targeted straight off the bat, and you need to keep damage dealers alive for as long as possible, which is going to be your key secret to success, especially in the early rounds of the game. You can reposition every round, no problem. Now, the last thing is the meta. I recommend checking out the Illuvialytics website to have a look at what's currently working in the game, and recent victors show off their teams that work well, and you can see all of that on the website. Please spectate games for a better understanding. If you want to improve at the game fast, you will not be disappointed. I hope you learned something today. Check out this guide telling you some more advanced tips for the arena when you get the chance.